Welcome to Agent Tactics. It is Friday again, every Friday, 10 a.m. Central. My guest today is somebody that I absolutely love. In fact, last week we actually got to bro out a little bit more at the Real Rise event. And as we were sitting there, I'm like, man, I have not had you on Agent Tactics. You've got to come on. What I love about Dan is I think he comes up with some of the most creative, original content. And it's one thing to come up with content and create content. It's another to actually get business from it. And that's where I think a lot of real estate agents go after views and go after all of these metrics that don't actually drive dollars to the bank account. And so what we're going to talk about with Dan, the one, how to create content that actually drives business to the bank account. Otherwise, we're just making content for funds. So Dan Mckennin out of Sarasota, welcome to the channel.
Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on, man. It was so great to see you last week. It's always so strange being so far from everyone and only being able to have these conversations. So it's definitely great to be together. But like Jeremy said, I'm from Sarasota, Florida, originally from the Northeast. Moved here about 6.5 years ago. I lived on the East Coast of Florida for a bit. But I absolutely love where I live. So I think that is a little bit more about what we're going to talk about is your content and kind of creating it from there. But I've been creating content for a long period of time. Before I was in real estate, I ran an advertising agency out of Providence, Rhode Island, and I did that for 10 years before I sold that and moved on. But at that time, we were doing a lot of brand work with a lot of different companies, and this is when social media and stuff was really just getting started. Like Facebook was pretty much the only thing. So I had a nice experience with that. So I think that may come with a little bit more of the originality or creativity and stuff like that. So I'm excited to jam out with everybody. Make sure that I have the chat open right here so I can see everything going on. So if you have any questions or stuff as we talk, please throw it in the chat and we'll make this as interactive as possible.
Amazing. Thank you, man. So let's talk about one. I think the thing that agents miss most when they start creating content is the one piece that is so vital that we just kind of skip over is who we're actually making content for.
Mhm.
How is it that you define your audience? Obviously, you have a marketing background. So if I'm starting my Instagram, and we'll show your Instagram in a second,
Yeah.
what are the things that I need to start thinking about in order to actually create content that converts?
Well, no, that's a great question. I think that, you know, to preface this, I think that the most important thing to focus on when you're building your own brand online is at the end of the day, we're building it for a reason. And the reason is to sell homes. So at the end of the day, we are content creators for this reason, but we're here to sell homes. So we want to drive as much traffic at the end of the day to that purpose. So I want to preface that. What was the question again, Jeremy? Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought.
No, man, you're good. It's that salt air. I get it. So, all right. So I'm starting out on Instagram
Oh,
all over
audience.
again,
No, no,
right?
we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Audience. I would say it's the biggest conversation I have with anyone. It's figuring out your audience voice. And going through, and I tell everyone to jump into a Word document or some, notes if you want to write it down. But just jump into notes on your phone or a Word document and write down your client voice. What are they talking about on a daily basis? What are they looking for? How do they talk? How do they dress? What's their age demographic? And so for me, like I live in a retirement slash secondary home slash families live here if they work from home. There's not a huge economic growth area for young families here. So for me, my normal voice is 45 to 60-year-old people from the Northeast or Midwest that are usually higher middle income to higher income. They usually drive American made cars. I know that's very strange, but when you start picking up on these things, you start making a language for them. A lot of them dress nice. They like to go to church. They're really into holidays. Like there's all these things. So basically, what I have is a huge client voice. And so for each one of you, if you're looking to get onto to any social network and grow your platform, at the end of the day, you want to figure out everything about your client, where they're looking to move and why. So the reason we have all this, and the best part is we have things like ChatGPT, so we can talk about that in a second. But when you have all this, you start understanding who you're talking to. And I think that that's very important because if you know who you're talking to, you can talk to them directly versus seeing what other people on Instagram or seeing what other agents are putting out there and trying to copy what they're doing because they're talking to a completely different audience. So for me, when you go to my page, I also run several other pages on Instagram. So each one is kind of tailored to have a certain voice. But if you go to my page, a lot of it is beach lifestyle because a lot of people around my area want to learn about the beaches. They want to learn about the different types of beaches, where to go, how to find them. So a lot of the stuff I do is that. So heading back into what we're talking about is the voices, is understanding who you're talking to. And once you have that big old sheet of things your clients like or what they're looking for, you can usually start picking out from there is what they want to hear. So I usually guide people down that path, or even myself when I have to redirect what I'm doing. It's usually finding who I'm talking to.
Okay. And that's a good point. So let's actually look at your Instagram right now. I mean, I don't know why you would put Bob Tompkins on there, but just kidding. And in my silly face. But let's go through your reels because this is, I think, where do you think your reels get you the most amount of
Yeah,
traffic
yeah.
or your stagnant
So before
posts?
we do this, let me just say I do about 60 to 70% of my business off my Instagram. I do about 8 to 11 million dollars a year off of my Instagram. So it connects me with a lot of clientele. We just had a rough hurricane here, so it kind of goes into some hurricane stuff, but this is our normal look at what people are seeing or looking at. So we go over a lot of like different areas, different beaches.
I gotta send this. This one's perfect. I'm like my video guy. I'm like, man, we make this so hard. Why can't we make it easy? And that's like perfectly.
So one of the things you'll learn quickly from my stuff, and I think that it was funny that Jeremy said this on his little promo thing on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, if you want to figure out how to get on camera," and the thing is I'm super comfortable on camera, but I actually do a ton of B-roll stuff. So Steve, these are three different shots that I put together, and at the end of the day, it's just showing lifestyle. And for us, it's showing you know what it's like to live here, what it's like to be at the beaches. Now, this one that Jeremy pulled up, this went crazy viral because I caught two people falling into the water. So that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's not a good represent. Here we go. There's
Yeah,
another.
yeah. So if you go through, one of the things that I found is that if you give people something pretty to look at and then give them information about it, they usually want to stay for more. So I tend to share a lot of good sights and scenes. And I've gotten a lot of people to come back and say, "Hey, Dan, this is great. That's awesome. But I live in, Chicago, and it's not like this. It's not pretty with palm trees and sunsets." And um, at the end of the day, you want to show what people will love there, and that's what we go back to our audience. If people are moving to Finger Lakes because they love the lakes, you want to show what lifestyle the best pieces of living on that lake are. You want to um dive into the reasons people love to live in, the city that they're in, or the area that they love. So if they don't, I talked to someone the other day, he was like from Cincinnati. He's like, no one loves Cincinnati. I was like, well, then find the best places in Cincinnati that people love to explore and dig into that. Jeremy's going to field day of all.
Oh, dude, I'm just gonna stalk you right here, and
I'm calling in right now. I gotta take this, okay?
Yeah. My wife wasn't a fan of this one. So I like to pull a lot of the beach stuff in there because at the end of the day, that's what, for us, everyone's looking for that. I run another page called All Sarasota. Jeremy, if you pull that back up, pull my page back up.
Yeah.
So right on the top of my profile, go to my bio, hit more. Oh, no. Just click out of this.
Is that right here?
Yeah, maybe. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's hit more in the next to growth. No. See Florida
I don't
mentor
even
and
know.
growth. Florida mentor and growth.
I have no idea what I'm even looking
See
for.
the orange. Do you see the
Nope.
little orange?
Oh,
That's
the
right
orange.
there.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
gotcha. Okay.
Now hit all Sarasota. So I run this page, and this page is obviously this is a lot of hurricane stuff now. So if you go past a little bit more, that this is I run a small like media page here in our area, and this gets a lot of engagement. This is really all everything local. And I branched out to start doing these things, and I integrate my own personal real estate page with this, and it gives me a lot of authority in the local area, but this is really here to um, be there for local people and for tourism. Tourism's huge for our area. So usually on this page, I just started doing a lot more collabs with people in the area, but everything's usually all my content. For the past 4 years, everything's been my content. But in the stories, we actually share everything from the community. I don't think there's anything on.
No.
Haven't been on today or yesterday. But usually it's packed full of like local businesses. Once again, we went through a hurricane, so things are a little bit weird here right now, in terms of businesses being open and stuff. But we usually share in the stories, local businesses, places to go, restaurants to see, things like that. And so this is shared with my page too, so you can see that my stuff sometimes will collab with this. And usually I'll get a lot of followers kind of from that. So I utilize other pages that aren't real estate based for real estate attraction, because at the end of the day, I get so many people that will message me on All Sarasota that say, hey, where's the best park to go to for this? And I'll just respond and I'll give them the information. We also, they can get information on real estate through all the other kind of things through that. But once you start reacting to people and stuff like that, they'll end up being like, oh, thanks so much for the information. And you end up saying, hey, if you're ever moving here, here's my number, right in the DM. So that's actually brought me some of my biggest listings. I got a $2.6 million listing off of that page. I've gotten a lot of different buyer clientele from that page that will just kind of fall through, but mostly it's the businesses. So I deal with a lot of small businesses and promoting them. And it's pretty cool because the small businesses all have a big impact here, and they'll tell everyone, hey, to use Dan. Dan's a great guy, and that because I'll promote their businesses and stuff.
That's cool, man. I didn't even think about doing a secondary page like that. There's a guy in Austin that does just like Austin stuff all the time, and his Instagram is huge, and it's all stuff just like that.
Yeah. And I mean,
And
I run 3 more of those. So we have all different area stuff based on it. And like we have one that's the town that I actually live in, Nokomis. There's really no, we're a little tourism town, and there's really no chamber of commerce. So I run a page called Visit Nokomis, which is like almost like a chamber of commerce would run. And it's basically to promote the small little restaurants here as people come to visit the area.
that's awesome, man. All right. So I like how you've created this where it's not even that whole other Instagram is like not even your face or anything to do with you.
Nope.
And so this is where I thought it was interesting, because we're always I always hear agents like, I can't get on camera. I'm scared to get on camera. I don't even know what to say. And all you're doing is providing some value. I mean, if you think about like some of the content I create, it's super simple, because all I do is find an article from the Austin Business Journal, and then I literally go to chat. I take that article, I've pre-written some stuff in a chat GPT, where now all I do is just toss that article in there, and it gives me a script. And all I do is hit play on the camera. I say the first line into the camera, and then I literally turn and I read off the script. So then it's all B-roll after that. And it's just usually like my videographer's got different B-roll, but it's not even me on camera. It's just me reading the words off the script.
Well, and I think we have to separate the content that we take in as human beings to the content that we need to produce for our clientele. If we're sitting back and we're looking at the top creators in our industry and trying to replicate what they're doing because we love taking in that content, that's great. But we're real estate agents, so of course we like it. But we're not selling to real estate agents. We're selling to the people that need to hear from us for other reasons. So figure out what that is. Yes, you at some point need to be on camera. Yes, you need to show your face. Yes, you need to introduce yourself to people. But there's so much value that you can add without having to sit perfectly in a corner of a room like Jeremy with a perfect background. Like there's so much you could just put your voice over you walking through a park and just talk about the 3 things you like about it. Actually, forget it. Don't even talk. Put a voiceover of AI, or just put the words on the screen. There's so much you can add to it if you start looking what is not being exposed. And when I say by that, I started all this stuff like All Sarasota and all this is because it wasn't being utilized in the area. We didn't have a voice for small businesses. We didn't have a voice for all the little areas that no one ever talked about. So I started going to those places. I started going to the beaches that no one ever talked about and being like, hey, this is a really cool beach. You should come check this out. Because while you're here, you can also check out this small business that I have a love for small businesses. So I love that. But it's pushing people to areas that is big and trendy has gotten me a lot of attraction. Now go find out what that is in your area. Maybe people don't know about some great restaurants. And so you go find a park nearby and be like, hey, check out this awesome park. I've never been here before. And hey, have you ever been here as well? And while you're doing all that, you're in the same area and you're creating 2, 3, 4 pieces of content.
That's actually a good segue into my next question is, when you're doing your shoot days, number one, are you batch shooting? And then how are you putting that time into actually shooting this content?
I don't batch shoot. I'm one of the
Okay.
only creators that doesn't batch shoot. Because I have an insane schedule. So truthfully, everything's very, I used to put content together on certain days. But no, everything is on a to-do list. I kind of get it done as it needs to go. It's not pretty. So everyone's just getting the realistic version of me today. But no, I don't. I think it's smart to batch shoot, and if you can, the only thing with batch shooting is that you really have to plan everything out really well, and you have to just roll with it. So I think it's good for some people, and some people it's not. I don't know. I'm on the go a lot.
we shoot everything all at one time. So, I have a videographer. And so
Yeah.
if I don't plan it all out, like it's just us staring at each other, like, what should we do for video? So,
and I think that it's different. I think that that's one of my biggest things in real estate too, is I think if you're sitting on this call and I think it's amazing. That's the goal we should all be at, is we're producing enough where we can have a videographer or have someone with us 1 to 2 days a week or whatever it is. If you're not there yet, the reality is set aside just time to work on your content. And I think that batch shooting is realistically just saying, hey, I'm going to set aside some time to do it. So if you don't have like Jeremy's saying, like, we're going to just stare at each other. That's so true, because you already have that time allotted, right? You have that, videographer there with you. Now, if you're not batch shooting, figure out what time of the week that you can just work on your content. Because like for me, I actually shoot a lot of my content on the go. So if you look at a lot of the stuff that I do, it's a lot on location at a beach or something like that. Or like, we will shoot multiple videos at a listing. So I don't necessarily batch for my week, but I usually batch. I guess that's a decent, I should have probably said that. I batch when I shoot content though. So I'll like go to a listing and have my videographer there shoot like 3 videos, and then I'll shoot like multiple other videos for the next following week of that listing or that area. So whenever we promote a listing, I'll promote the area the week prior. So if we have a listing coming up in Lakewood Ranch, we'll do Lakewood Ranch like lifestyle, or we'll show a local business in Lakewood Ranch or something like that. So we start getting a stir of people, sharing anything about Lakewood Ranch before we launch a listing.
Awesome. Okay. So how do you plan that though? Like, okay, you have a listing and you're going to shoot content around that listing. Like, what's your step-by-step process for that?
Usually it breaks down in hierarchy of like, when we're there, the listing video is the most important, and then we take tidbits from that. So listing video, like and right now we have a listing shoot like every week for the next like 5 weeks. So it kind of works out nicely. Obviously not everyone has like business lined up like that. I just luckily have business lined up like that. But we'll line it up where the hierarchy is like the listing video, and every listing video we do has a marketing plan behind it. Actually, every listing we have has a marketing plan behind it and has a creative on it. So we always reference the creative sheet that basically has a headline. We have a listing coming up that the headline's 15 minutes from anything. The home is located 15 minutes from literally all the beaches, all the shopping, everything like that. So the video, all the marketing, everything like that is going to be around the idea of 15 minutes from anywhere. So we will write out a script and write out what we're going to do for the actual listing video. And then we'll make like usually 2 sub videos about the community or about the home that has to do with that 50 minutes. And then we'll use B-roll from the actual shoot. So I'll have my videographer, I'll say to him, hey, while we're he knows at this point, but like, hey, while you're shooting the home and these videos, can you just catch extra B-roll for me to use in Instagram or on social media? So then he'll give me 10 like cinematic shots of the home, whether it be like panning through the kitchen or something else. So then I can use that myself and I put text over it that says like, welcome to Sweetwater and Lakewood Ranch, or, have you ever thought about being in a gated community under $300 a month that takes care of your grass? I don't know. You can put anything on that. So from that already, before we've even shot any like lifestyle or personal shots, we already have like 4 pieces of content to go out on that. So, and then from there, I'll utilize that same type of script and do something like I'll walk around the house and then post that. I'll do a handful of like my own personal stuff on my phone. When I say personal, it's non-videographer, me shooting and me cutting it up on CapCut and putting it out there. I like having a balanced mix of professional videographer stuff and my own stuff. I think that people take it 2 different ways. And so I like having the different interactions.
Awesome. Hey, by the way, if you have questions, drop them in the comment section here, and I will ask those questions as we go through. I want to go to your back to your Instagram and actually, let's see. I want to go take me back to Dan Mckennin. No, let's see. Go back. There we go. I actually want to go through some of your listing videos because that's what I think is some of your most creative work. Stop me when I come to one.
There's 2 at the top. If you want to look at those.
Oh, they pinned them right here. Oh,
Yep.
You pinned them, not they.
Yeah. Yeah.
My brand new listing at 5218 Winding Way. Come on in and check it out. Just don't get the house right here.
Yeah, no, we're good.
This perfect 6,000 square protected lot is ready for your dream build here in paradise.
Okay,
Can
we say that though?
What? Living on Siesta Key is absolutely incredible with the fresh breeze from the Gulf and the beautiful sunshine always shining down on you.
This structural like we don't.
This lot is ready for your perfect island build. Are you ready?
Dude, I'm ready to get out of here. Let's go.
Imagine relaxing in this canopy cover, this beautiful preserve-like neighborhood in your backyard and your pool. Don't miss your opportunity. All right, so here's lot 113.
So you said we really can't pick anything. I can only pick from these 3 packages.
Yeah, you remember custom really isn't custom anymore.
This one doesn't come with a pool, the waterfall countertops, the upgraded flooring or trim, no impact windows, no tray ceiling. When will it be done?
Give or take 18 months.
Jeez, then how about a pool?
I'd say like another 9 or 12 months after that.
Ugh, that's not that. I thought you said this place is sold out.
Let me check real quick.
Hey there, what do you got going on over here?
Hey there. Yeah, we have a fully customized full home, all the upgrades, have the impact windows, the waterfall countertops, gorgeous pool out back.
Yeah, right. When will it be ready? 3 years?
No, it's not going to take that long. It's actually live right now. You want to come and check it out?
I love that one.
So that one was, let's stop for a second and just talk about that one. That one
Yeah.
was, this is the coolest part about having a creative plan with listings. I think that it's so important to take a look into how to decipher how these homes are different. So that community, these people, man, that was one of the hardest ones to sell. That home was absolutely gorgeous. You can buy in that community between $600,000 and $700,000 for that same house. We listed at $999,000 because they put over $200,000 in upgrades into the home and ended up getting transferred in work. The community was still being built at the same exact time. So like they had bought, at the height, not the height, but when prices were a little higher, our market was coming down and new construction had come down. So we needed to really showcase that the build was quality. So we couldn't rag on the builder being like bad or like that, because they literally built the house. But we needed to really push people into an uncomfortable state that they'd be waiting or not get what they wanted. And so I think that video came out really, really great in terms of looking back at how we, put the message across that this is what you get. You don't have to wait for it. It's all ready for you. And that actually ended up getting me 2 more listings in that neighborhood. We have one going live in 2 weeks, where we're doing the same exact thing, going through a nice big long video process to make sure that the video's super professional, where people will remember it, and then hopefully get more listings in that neighborhood just from that. So from this video, I sold the home. The home came from another realtor who saw the video. It only had like 5 showings. 5 showings in like 70 days. We sold it for $908,000. And now I got a listing from it, and I have a future one coming. So it was really, really cool because I didn't even cold call anyone like that. They came to me because of this.
I love that. And that's the toughest thing, as I always tell people, like, hey, when you're in a neighborhood that has new construction, when you go to sell, your competition is the builder. So how do you, like, we have to come up with creative ways to market around that, because otherwise people are just going to go to the builder.
Why wouldn't you? In every situation, I would much rather go through my own. I don't want to take someone's own stuff, but as a real estate agent, like that was like the best listing. I walked into the place. It was gorgeous. The hardest part was they wanted so much money, and we were going up against homes that were worth or were selling for $300,000 less. And so it was a really cool, opportunity to go in there and be like, wow, this marketing has to be really good to stand up to what else is going on here. And, it shows you, though, I think there's a huge impact it has on the story you tell. And that's where we go back to our audience and we figure out what is the story they want to hear, and my clientele, they're coming down here with cash or a large cash deposit. They are already deciding on either retiring or spending time in Florida. So they don't want time. They don't want to waste time. So for us, we wanted to take that away with that builder, because we couldn't shit on the builder. We couldn't be like, they're crappy builders. We literally have the same home. So I think that at the end of the day, it's if I think it's in everybody. I think creativity, don't sit there and say, hey, I'm not creative enough to figure that out or whatever. Yeah, our videographer had some fun with it and we had some fun effects in there and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like we kind of laid out what were the pieces to the home next door, like a reality comparatively. So
Yeah.
push yourself, everyone that's listening.
Now, let me ask you, so putting content like that, right? Is it actually getting homes sold? Is it actually getting buyers reaching out to you?
Yeah. So that one right there has gotten multiple people from like interested in Lakewood Ranch. Because it's a mix of 2 things. Like there is some comedic balance in that. Like it's kind of funny. It kind of drags you in, but we're also showing like a really nice home that not all the homes in that area are like that. That's a really beautiful home they built. So people will see that. And the trick to profitability on Instagram nowadays is getting it shared.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, to transact, we need them in our DMs. We need everyone to be hitting us up in our DMs. But to grow on Instagram, we need it to be shared. So you need to create content that is share worthy. I do not care if it sounds like it's from a potato or if it's freaking blurry. If you can get people to share it, that's all that matters. And that's literally the game we play now. Everything, go through your feed and you can see the little arrow under likes, comments, arrow. Under the arrow, you can see how many times it's been shared. As you flick through, look, you'll see a majority of it have a lot of shares. Or it will be none because it will just be friends in your feed or whatever. but a majority, 2/3 of the stuff you see is shared by a lot of people. And you may even see yourself doing that, hitting the share button, share, share, share. Jeremy and I've done it between ourselves. Oh, check this out. Check this out. Look what I'm looking at. That doesn't necessarily mean we're sharing it to our story, but we're sharing it to other people. And so what I'm getting by saying that is like, you really need to dig into finding content that's shared like has a shareability. Now that video, going back to your question, a lot of people shared it. A lot of people clicked and shared it out. So then more people were organically seeing it. And so then more people would hit me up or follow or whatever it is. So that's a newer area in Lakewood Ranch. So, you know, for me, I did get, we're the,
Oh no, the Florida Wi-Fi is not working.
hold on.
Oh no, we lost Dan. Oh no, we lost Dan. He might come back in a second. So Frank, how is it working with you and your content? I know you were trying to create some new content. I'm curious, oh, there you are, Dan. You're back.
Oh,
You're
I'm
live.
back. Yeah, I had to change internet sources.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, Florida did just get 2 hurricanes, so we'll go
Yeah,
easy on you.
we're not allowed to complain to Xfinity anymore. They just put us through an AI chatbot. So, anyways, yeah. What questions do we have? I know there's a handful of y'all watching. What questions do we have? I feel like we're talking very specifics here. I'd love to get into some deets.
I got Brandy on here who just joined our team here, and so she lives in a totally different part of town than I do. And so I've been trying to think of all the different things I need to create to make sure we're drawing in buyers and sellers in her area. And some of this is just like just this one little post right here. Like I literally sent it to my videographer as soon as I saw it, and I was like, dude, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's
Like,
so
that's so
simple.
easy.
And I've used those clips a handful of times. Like, and if you have a videographer or if you have a drone, or next time you have to hire a videographer for a listing shoot, ask them, hey, could I get some B-roll from a drone for you of this area? Or hey, if I'm paying you for this, can I pay you a little bit more to go do some drone around the area? Like say it's a little town center. Can you do a little loop-de-loo around the church, bell, that I could do some stuff? Like there's a lot of really great stuff you can share with just cool visuals of drone.
Yeah. And that's
So
so easy because like, I mean, downtown Austin, I've seen it a million times where somebody's got like just a drone shot of downtown Austin with a question. And then it's like read the chat. So what happens is that video is just, and it's only what, 8-9 seconds. So that
yeah,
video is playing over and over as they're reading the entire
completely. Yep. And it's
yeah.
and here's the cool part is most of the people, and I definitely lean into tourism because people are just researching Siesta Key all the time. It's one of it's the number one beach in the US like every other fourth year. So we have a ton of people researching that. So of course I'm going to lean into that, where you'll have the people search for Siesta Key. That video will pop up like you just said. They'll be reading it, it'll be replaying, and then they'll probably send it to someone that says like, hey, check out this beach. Why don't we head there soon? And it's just off of some realtor's page. Like it has nothing. And you'll see, even look at this stuff every time you scroll your own Instagram. You'll find stuff that you're like, the username doesn't even really even, perfectly match into this like great content. It's like there are people out there creating amazing content that doesn't have directly to what they're doing. So we can create the stuff that's not being created. If you don't have the town promoting their own area, become that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then you don't even have to be on camera. I mean, that's the thing is like
No.
the voiceover stuff works so much easier. And I know, everybody's so worried about being on camera, then don't be on camera if you don't want to be on camera. Rebecca says, how many IG accounts do you have? I don't understand how the orange goes somewhere else. How
Oh,
do people get to click on it? So,
so
go ahead.
it's just a link. It's a link in my bio, and for some reason Jeremy's doesn't.
Illiterate.
If you go on my phone, on the web, it doesn't show your full profile. But if you go to like my profile on your phone, you should be able to see most of my profile. The orange was just to direct him to where to hit the more thing. But people find that organically. My page all Sarasota is organic. Like I don't pay for any ads. That is 32,000 people that follow it organically. I don't ever really share. I don't really cross post or anything like that on my own stuff. That just people find it. It's a very well-known page around here. Only because I've made it that way. Like from the start, it was just a page where I was just highlighting local areas and local things to do. Now it's really morphed into a much bigger thing, so. I live in a large city. Should I break it down to the district I live in or do a lot of business in? I live in beach next to Golden Gate. That's a great question. That's a really great question. So San Francisco is a big city. I would definitely become the expert in your little area. So if you have a district, and now here's to be picky, don't do it where you want to sell. Don't do it to like where you actually live, unless that's where you live and sell. You know what I mean? So pick an area that you know you can do business in, highlight it. A lot of people call them farming. These days, obviously it's farming, but it's like on a different level at this point. Pick that area and really dive deep into understanding their audience, but also what in that area are people trying to find out. Go on Google, go to Google Insights. I do live there and sell there. That's even better. Then show yourself in those places. Find all your favorite places in that area and highlight the hell out of it. Find 3-4 different parks, 3 to 4 different restaurants, 3 to 4 different places you like to walk, 3 to 4 different, and then here's the thing. Put all that into how can I put it into ChatGPT? How can I highlight these, put all those things that I just said in there on Instagram, on YouTube, on social, on whatever it is, and it's going to start spitting out ideas and find what works with you. And now the last piece of it is the money piece of it all. Who am I talking to at this point? Rebecca, the money piece of it all is be authentic. Just be a regular person. Hey, I really love this part of town because I live here and these people are great, or this is awesome and I want to show it to you. The more you start being like that and having casual conversations about what people are interested in, the more people are going to want to engage with you and say, hey, I've been there before. Or, hey, does that place have chocolate chip cookies? Or, hey, are there a lot of homeless people there? Like whatever the questions are going to be, they're going to ask you whatever it is. And the goal is to come across as the mayor of this city, mayor of the area, mayor of the town. Because what used to be like back in the day, the general Main Street, the mayor of the city, the main publication, that used to be the go-to. Now the go-to is just heading to that search bar and searching your town you live in or the city you live in or whatever and finding all the information on social.
Yeah, she said, plus she has a second home where I might retire. What about promoting that are you going to sell homes when you retire, or are you just going to retire there? I think that's the bigger question, because if you're not going to sell homes there, then I wouldn't promote it. I mean, if you're going to try to sell homes.
I spend a lot of time up there now, Jeremy. This is Rebecca in San Francisco. It's Healdsburg, which is just a cool little town about a little over an hour north of me. And my office in San Francisco just shut down. And so they shuttled us all off to the peninsula. And I interviewed with the company up there that's both here and there. And what I thought was, I'm always going up there and I'm always taking videos and I'm going wine tasting and or walking along the river or picking vegetables in my garden. And a lot of people from here that I know personally already have second homes up there. And if I'm going to retire up there and I want to maybe still do business, it's probably easier for me to start over now when I'm in my 60s than 4 or 5 years now when I'm in my 70s. So I'm actually leaning towards changing, moving to a brokerage up there in 4 to 6 months after the holidays and after Tom Ferry Elite. And I thought this might be a good way if Dan's getting business in different areas because people are retiring where he is from the Midwest and New England, then maybe that might be a good way to start doing business there by attracting people who want to sell in San Francisco and get a second home there now to Airbnb or maybe retire and part-time, but do it now while prices are pretty good because the market's still kind of soft around here.
I think
that's kind of my thought.
If you worked out the details on how the production would work after, if you started getting people interested, I think that this has legs, and I think that you could really do something with it. But I do think that it being an hour, hour and a half north of you, if you're ready to do the drive and go back and forth, or have someone that you can like refer any business or have help up there, then I wouldn't do it. If you do have that and you're open for it, then I do think that weekly you should be talking about this every time you go up there. Hey, this is my life up here too, and you should talk about it. Why not? If it's something you know about, and hey, I've been finding a lot of my San Franciscoites, I don't know how you, whatever you'd say that, all the people in San Francisco nights, San Franciscoans, I noticed that a lot of them go up here. Are you interested in learning more about this area as I spend more of my weekends here? Just open up to showing people. People are more interested in learning about people's lives than anything. So just share your life. Like, that's interesting. I'm interested to know, where are you going from San Francisco? Like, that's actually interesting to me. Like,
yeah, that is interesting.
Find me on Instagram. I'm Dan the Realtor. You can type it right up in the chat or in the search thing. It should pop up, my big old face on there. Make sure you pop in my page and say hello. I will, I'll chat back to you. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns. If you had issues with anything I said, bring them to Jeremy. Don't bring them.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I appreciate you. Dan, thank you so much, man. I got to run. I got to go do the real estate thing that we do and actually go show some homes right now.
Yeah, I got to go prep for a listing. Might have to bust out the pressure washer.
Oh, okay. Well, good thing you have it in your car. All right, we'll chat soon.
Later, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Bye.